Welcome to 𝗂𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃. Discover Montreal in a new and interactive way with augmented reality. Find secret locations and get immersed in your culture. Imagine if your city could speak. What would it reveal? 𝗂𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃. Download now.
Hello, my name is Reisa Levine. I am a cinema and communications teacher at Dawson College. I've been working on the 𝗂𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃 project now for about 3 years. We initiated the project just around the beginning of COVID, actually. My background is in film production, but also I worked in software development and educational gaming. So I had a bit of background to bring to a development project of this kind. Let me just explain a little bit about what 𝗂𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃 is. So I'll just share my screen here for a second. So 𝗂𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃 is now a published app available for free download in both app stores, Android and iOS devices. We also have actually a backend, a whole backend, which is a whole other web-based app that allows us to publish content, multimedia content, all the metadata very, very quickly and easily. So that's a whole side project. Working on this is really entitled Finding New Ways of Doing Immersive Media Production, all with students and with students from a wide variety of disciplines. So it was very important to us to have the students drive the whole project and really be involved in all aspects, including all the development of the back end and the apps, the coding of the apps, and also all the dozens of media vignettes and location-based media that we've produced for this project. We've had a number of faculty, local professional media creators, and of course all our students working in multidisciplinary teams. But why did we want to do this? Well, this project really was started by this wonderful mural that's painted across the street from Dawson College. And this is an homage to very well-known and important documentary filmmaker 𝗂𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃, who is Abenaki and an advocate and incredible voice for First Nations people. Her films, and she has over 50 of them, she is well into her 90s now and still creating films. But my students didn't know and don't know who she is. And I thought, wow, there's this beautiful mural across the wall. My cinema students don't know 𝗂𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃. How can we make this? How can we correct this? Wouldn't it be great if 𝗂𝗲𝗃 herself could step off the wall and tell her stories directly to the students? And I thought, well, maybe there's a way we can do that. Maybe we can use the technology that we're all holding in our hands now in order for 𝗂𝗲𝗃 to get those stories, those essential stories, out to our students.
My name is 𝗂𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃. I am a 𝗰𝗶𝗁𝗃𝗃 woman. I wanted to go somewhere where nobody would go. I want to hear the voices of people that don't have a chance to be heard. You know, when I was working in No Address, it was a difficult film because, again, you're working on the street and you're working with people and to get them to tell their stories, and it was very, very difficult. And you know, a lot of people, they come to the city and they feel alone, they don't know anybody. I think it's better. The first 16mm film I made, it's called Christmas at Moose Factory, to see the children and make them feel comfortable. This was a residential school. This is a bunch of children that I was running. I was trying to do it's an old tradition from where I come from. Like you would hold hands, one dancer would start, it would go to a
And so that's how we got this project started. And here are just a few production stills. Okay, I'm going to ask my colleague Nancy Rebello now to join me in a conversation about the project that we will share with you. Hello, my name is Reisa Levine. I'm the project lead on the AR Cité, or Our City project.
Hello, I'm Nancy Rebello. I also work at Dawson College in Montreal. I work in the history department, and I joined Reisa, I guess, about halfway through, so about a year ago, a year and a little bit,
Here in a bit.
year and a half ago, more or less. I joined Reisa in an effort to have my history students work with her cinema students to create these vignettes that are deep and nuanced and visually engaging and all of that.
Yeah, and I brought Nancy into the project because a little way in, I realized that as we were doing some of our research into some of the vignettes that we wanted to create, we were sorely lacking historical backing, and our students were often off in all directions, and we really felt we didn't have the time or the knowledge, the skill sets to really get into the history of these locations, and yet it was essential to have them, to make them more valid, to give more, I guess, importance and meaning to the locations that are all around us in the college where we're working. So part of that, part of the question of why we wanted to get this project going is how can we bring histories to life in the buildings all around us, both from a creation point of view. How do we create so that our students can create meaningful projects, based on our environment? But how do we do that together? And both from a creation point of view, but also from the participant point of view, who are later going to take this app, who are now using this app in their classrooms as a learning material.
And I think it's important to also mention that, when we're doing history, when we're dealing with history, we want it to go beyond a kind of surface history, right? We want it to go beyond, this building was built on this day, and this person, played a concert there, and the building was taken down on this date. We wanted, especially in the neighborhood where ARCT is kind of investigating, there's so many interlayered complexities. And we want to make sure to showcase that, because it has to go beyond the kind of simple history for it to be really meaningful. And also for our students to develop the habit of kind of asking why and why and why and why, and then digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And so we wanted to make sure that the vignettes then had that depth of knowledge and complexity. And for that, it takes a lot of time, obviously, right? But it also takes a certain skill set, and Reisa students have the skill set of creating these incredible visuals and creating cinema and media content. And my students have all of this kind of research skill set. And by bringing the two together, I think in many cases we have some vignettes that are very successful, that they are very visually engaging and they communicate, the complexity, but they have that content, they have that depth of knowledge. And so it's bringing in these two skills that our students have been working on for almost about 2 years by the time we got them together, and then getting them to work together to create something that is better on both sides, better in terms of the history and better in terms of visuals.
But also their impact, right? I think of something like a site like the Children's Hospital, because of course that was an important Montreal institution, as a children's hospital that was there for decades and decades, and recently tore down, and luxury condos built in that space, right in a city square that is sort of a place where desperate needs for Indigenous populations, homeless people who are in that neighborhood, and there are these luxury towers. So when our students learned really about what was going on, the protests that communities who lived there, the residents who came to sort of voice their discontent about this project, who now have to deal with the changing demographics, people who are moving into these luxury condos now, who don't know the neighborhood, who are learning about who their neighbors are. So all these interesting sort of intersections that come together. And when our students really begin to open their eyes and see that, the media changes. They're much more engaged. They want to place it in the right place in this neighborhood. Where can we tell these stories that's going to have a big impact so our students understand about changing neighborhoods?
And certainly the site of the Montreal Children's Hospital is a site of a lot of outrage because there was so much promised, right? There was the social housing promise, there was the community space promise, there was the elementary school. All of these are desperate needs in that neighborhood. And this is where kind of power comes in, right? So the students then see that none of that, even though it is promised, actually gets delivered. And there's a sense of kind of outrage, and there's a sense of anger. And I think that sense of anger and outrage sometimes helps us produce better work too.
Well, it's
And
certainly
so,
where the documentary comes in, right? And our students really learn about some of the origins of documentary. It comes from injustice, documenting injustice, I think, a lot of the time. So that helps locate these projects.
when you just see, the towers, the history is not there. And so we need to dig deep to uncover all of that. And so, yeah, I think that's why it kind of works well together to bridge these two disciplines.
And what a great medium to work in, because we can place the videos that were created. And some of them are quite, they use green screen effects so that you really see the environment around you while the media is there. So it's quite powerful. And so these vignettes, these documentary vignettes about the neighborhood are right there in the spaces where they should be, where the stories should be told.
How do we ensure the needs of the community rise above the profits of real estate developers?
Because our students are working all semester creating this one deep 10-page research paper that really no one else besides themselves and me engage with. And so to think about the idea that you're going to take your research and you're going to develop something that is going to have a wide lens in terms of an audience that you can easily then share with people, that you can also develop the skills in terms of how do you take all that deep knowledge and transform it into something that can be quickly and efficiently communicated to someone.
So yeah, it kind of bridges that gap, right? Where, they have these things in their hands all the time, and yet we tell them to put them away in the classroom, right? So there's a real disconnect between all of the stuff they're looking at all the time. They're taking their classroom learning and engaging with actual spaces through their phones.
And also, I mean, I think it's really wonderful to get students out of the classroom, especially in a neighborhood like ours. To think about the idea of teaching about our neighborhood within a classroom just makes no sense. And so getting them to go out and walk the streets and notice, the environment that exists around them and the people that they see around them, and then watching these videos that have all of this deep knowledge communicated to them. Is also, I think, a much more effective way of.
Yeah, it's also pretty cool, right? When they go out and they see like Alexis Neon Plaza, which is a huge shopping mall right across the street from our college, used to be a baseball field.
Yeah.
A really important baseball field where many big teams played up until, Nancy, what years? Do you remember?
1930s, 1940s.
In the 30s, 40s.
A parking lot.
And then it became a shopping mall. So seeing those pictures, and we have some beautiful archival photos worked into the app, that's really cool. We don't realize, or you don't really think about how space is transformed over time.
So thank you so much for listening. I hope you're gonna, pursue, looking on our website and figuring out a little bit more about how this app works and the work that has been done by our students.
Or come down to the Shaughnessy Village, come visit us at Dawson College and try the app yourself. We're here for all inquiries. And thank you, Nancy, for coming on today. And thank you for working on this project. I mean that so
thank you.
sincerely. It's been really great. And I hope we can continue to do more into the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, Reisa.